He says, Chymynwgi mae hwnna trw hi cyteisig. Mae'r hwnna trw hi cyteisig hafig fad yn y ffyrus. Sewn y gas mi marwch chocrwr i sianirn. Ach fosiach sin shri ni ting yn i'r yn gywagis egos.
The Scottish Outdoor Access Code is probably the most progressive in the world. But if you look at our land ownership, it's probably the most regressive in the world. So it's probably born out of not being able to own land and access land. And that's, that is really cultural. That you can go really deep and far back into that, how the land was divided between, clans, and even like back to Gaels and Picts and Vikings and the Irish and stuff. You can go really deep into that. A lot of people respect that you do have the right to roam. There is, it's kind of that, notion that Scotland has no trespassing laws. I am free to do as I wish. And that's a really nice sort of liberty to have.
In Scotland, nearly every square foot of land is privately owned by a small fraction of the population. Because of this imbalance and the Scots' persistent dedication to freedom, the Scottish Outdoor Access Code was written into law in 2003, which granted public access to private land for recreational and educational purposes. During one of the mildest winters that Scotland had seen in decades, Marie and I randomly met a local in a pub named Lauren McCallum. What started with a shared interest in snowboarding led to shared pints of cider, and after a brief Scottish history lesson, she offered to lead us into the hills to get a real feel for this right to roam.
How can anyone know that they want the right to roam or understand that the right to roam is important if they've never roamed? It's kind of like, appreciate this, but you have no idea what it is. You can't do it.
You ready for the smoke show? Oh, yeah.
That's pretty heavy now.
We are currently sitting in a bothy in the Scottish West Highlands, just out from Fort William, not far from Annachmore. And yeah, this is the essence of Scottish outdoor access as a sanctuary for somewhere to be dry and share stories and really just just enjoy yourself and know that you don't have to pack too much and meet other people as well, and they're sort of like the backbone of Scottish culture, mountain culture, and they're an awesome network of sanctuaries to have. In a way, it's like a sort of ancient social media. It's where you would meet other random people and reach out to people.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah, you too. Bye. Meet soon.
See, I should have spent a wee while tuning up before we done this,
You can really bend the. You can really bend the nose and do it smoothly. But I love that. Radio.
Oh, she's a natural.
People wanted to go out and explore Scotland, and actually there's a lot of land, there's not a lot of people, so it's quite a straightforward thing to facilitate, but it's something that, as a sort of carte blanche, as a sort of blanket rule, needed to be reinforced at government level and just sort of giving people that sort of peace of mind.
Wow.
So it is officially okay to go places as long as you're reasonable, responsible and respectful.
Yeah, that's it. It's like reasoning, isn't it? It's like you take a little bit, you give a little bit. You take a little bit, you give a little bit. Yeah, respectful, responsible and reasonable. And it's only when somebody gets a little bit annoyed about giving or taking is where you kind of get a bit of a friction. But generally, people are happy to give a little bit and take a little bit. And I think that's a pretty good thing. good, and it's waterproof. This in the shower or bath is a total game changer.
Music was like, you know, you get up and you sung a song for doing this and sung a song for doing that and boom, 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 you know. And then there was songs for milking cattle, and there was songs for rowing boats, and there was songs for the warrior culture of the Highlands, like the spiritual side of things as well, and just music for everything. I'm always singing, like, that's better for you if you sing. If you don't sing, you lose your soul. Wow, that's deep, wasn't it?
You try and explain it to people who haven't been to Scotland. You know, and Scots are wild and stuff. But you have to really come here to experience it, you know. I think, you know, you guys might have met like Scottish people on your travels and stuff and maybe thought they were alright or, you know, not okay. But I think you really need to kind of come to Scotland to really get that full experience.
I think you've had just about enough, Mrs., haven't you? Get her out, come on!
You know, there are people that are going to make a mess, and there are people that are going to spoil things and leave trash and burn fires that they're not meant to. And, you know, we had a couple of road guys last summer burn this absolutely beautiful tree that had been there for hundreds of years, just out of pure ignorance. But I guess the way you've got to think of it is that for that one tree or that one really natural thing to be spoiled by this small minority of people, think about the other thousands of people that have just been able to just get out their car and just go. And like not even think, just go. Just leave, shut the door and go. Like, that is such like a liberty that we take for granted. Especially in like the universal world.
It's rad to be proud of that.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
well, you know, you think about the poor kids that are getting like blown to bits in Syria. You know, they can't just go. They can't just.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And just depending on how the cover underneath the new snow is, which is probably pretty thin. So we could go and certainly have a play around in here.
Origami, not doing origami.
I'll give you this one.
So with the greater freedom you ask for, you have to be accountable for that. But with freedom comes a lot of responsibility, you know? And I think that's what I want for the Scottish youth, is to drive for more freedom, but also make sure that everyone knows that while gaining these liberties, everyone's responsible for making sure that we just keep progressing. And I think that's what I really want, because that would be a cool place to be in.
as I walked in the shade of
We have
the
everything in
book
Scotland.
on the cold winter's day. Well, I trod on a bud in a bog-hole, figure both old and grey. Tell me, why do you lie in a bog-hole? I asked this man of grey, with a laugh and a mirthless chuckle. These words to me he'd say: I'm the last of the grand old masters, tigers of yesterday. When the march of progress has passed us, we're fated to fade away. I was with Joe Brown in Clanberries at the height of his climb and fame, and with Robin Smith on Ben Nevis when first he made his name. Now Brown's passed his crown to another,